answer. If you are selecting a new tractor, you'll have a serious problem. You must use care and intelligence in choosing the outfit that will do all your work at a saving to you. Now, there are many questions in your mind, but no doubt they boil down to these three things that you want to know about such an outfit. Will it do your work the way you want it done? Will it bring your costs down? Is it within your reach? Let's see how one farmer, Joe Moore, found the answers to these questions. Perhaps what he found will interest you.
I'm just looking around. I've seen your ads in the paper, and I was in town, so I thought I'd drop in and take a look at your tractor.
I'm glad you did, Joe. Suppose we go over here and sit down for a few minutes. I'd like you to tell me something about your place.
All right.
Let's see, Joe. What's the size of your farm?
Oh, I've got 160 acres.
How many under cultivation?
120.
What are you raising?
I've got 48 acres in cotton, about 40 in corn and beans, and the balance in hay and small grain.
What kind of soil have you out there, Joe?
Oh, some sandy loam and some black land. It's all fairly heavy.
Well, how do you prepare your soil?
I break my corn ground with a disc plow, and I bed my cotton land.
I see. Now, tell me this, Joe. When you plant, do you...
There are a lot of things peculiar to every farm that must be considered before you can determine what is the right answer. So Joe Moore and his dealer discussed all the different phases of his operation. This enabled both of them to get a good idea of the work that had to be done and the particular requirements of his farm. Then...
Well, you see, Ed, my problem's different.
Yes, your problem is different, Joe. But like most farmers, the first thing you want to know about any tractor outfit is, will it do your work the way you want it done?
That's right.
You realize, of course, that the work you can do with a tractor depends on the implement you can get to work with it. After all the tractor does is pull. It's the implements that really do the work. If you can't get the implements that will do the right kind of work, you aren't interested in my tractor or anyone else's.
Well, I think you've got something there.
Let's go out on the floor, Joe, and take a look at these Tru-Draft implements.
Say, what is this Tru-Draft business? I've seen that in your ads and wondered what it's all about.
Joe, there's a lot to this Tru-Draft principle, and this Avery outfit is the only tractor outfit where all the implements are free to operate in their true line of draft. Take this cultivator, for example. In any cultivator, there are about 4 things you want. You want natural penetration and even depth. You want the gangs easily adjustable for depth while you're in motion. You want them all up front in plain sight. And you want your gangs rigid sideways, so they'll plow out weeds. And at the same time, flexible up and down to follow the ground and not the tractor. Now, look at this long gang, Joe. See how it permits you to hitch at a single point and in the true line of draft? The blades penetrate naturally and maintain an even depth. And since you don't have any hold-up wheels or hold-down springs, you can raise the gangs or lower them easily with that master lever. Or you can adjust your depth without stopping.
Yeah, seems to work pretty easily.
Now, with the tractor designed especially for Tru-Draft implements, we put all the blades where you can see them from a comfortable position. And because they're all up front, you can turn shorter and also cultivate curved or contour rows. Here's something else, Joe. Push sideways on this gang. Yeah, that's right.
She's pretty rigid.
Yes, and you can see it will always stay rigid. It'll always plow out the weeds without sliding around them. Now, lift it up. The gang is flexible vertically, so it will follow the soil and not the tractor. You see, this Tru-Draft outfit gives you everything you want in a cultivator. That's the thing I've always liked about this B.F. Avery outfit, Joe. The implements were built first, and then the tractor was designed to fit them. Seems to me these Avery people really went about it the right way.
Well, that does sound reasonable.
Take this planter for another example. We all know these are the main things you want a planter to do. First, plant and cover all seed at depth and space desired. Second, drop the desired number of any kind of seed. And third, leave the planted soil in any shape and form you want. And fourth, drill, check, or hill drop. Here now is a planter that will check cotton as well as corn. Checking lets you cultivate both ways. It eliminates chopping, yet gives you absolute control of weeds. And here's another thing. Checking reduces the amount of seed and fertilizer required. People find out when they check, they grow as much or more crop per acre, even though the plants are further apart, and do it at a big saving on production cost. You get all these things in a B.F. Avery Tru-Draft planter, and here's why. Lift up that end, Joe. You see, it's completely free from the tractor. It's pulled from a single point, in the true line of draft. It gauges its own depth, absolutely independent of the up and down motion of the tractor. And it's all up in front where you can see just what you're doing. This Tru-Draft planter will leave the planted soil in any shape and form you want, from making and planting in a furrow to making a bed and planting on it. So you see, Joe, this Avery Tru-Draft planter will put your seed and your dirt just where you want it, even, uniform, and plant just the number of seeds you want, drilled, hill-dropped, or checked for cross-cultivation. The fertilizer distributor, when used with the planter, will deposit the fertilizer in hills near the seed, or will drill the fertilizer alongside the seed. And this same fertilizer distributor, when used with the cultivator, will side dress the growing crop.
How about bedders?
I'm glad you asked about bedding equipment. There are a number of things you'll want in a bedder, but these are the main things. You want uniform beds of the size desired, and you want light draft. That means economy, and more work done for the money. These two Tru-Draft bedders are pulled from one point, the front end of the beam. So each follows the soil and not the tractor or the other bedder, all without the use of hold-down springs or gauge wheels. Running free in their true line of draft, they pull lighter, and for that reason are more economical and durable. Now, to regulate the depth, all you do is just raise or lower the front end of the beam with the master lever. When you lower it, the point sucks it into the depth you've set it for. To raise it, you just reverse the process. Raise the front end of the beam, and the bottom runs out of the ground into a raised position. That's true draft. No force, no exertion, just natural penetration.
What about a lister planter?
All you have to do is add this planting attachment to this bedder. Then you'll have a two-row lister planter. Now come over here, Joe, and I'll show you our Tru-Draft plowing equipment. I think you'll find.
Well, the dealer went on to demonstrate the other Tru-Draft implements. He explained how the Tru-Draft principle worked on every one. First, the one-way plow. Then, the Red Lion disc plow and the disc harrow. The single and two-furrow moldboard plows. The three-row bedder. And the mower. And then he explained to Joe.
You see, Joe, we have the right Tru-Draft implements for your particular farm.
Well, I think you've got what I need, all right.
The reason these implements will do all your work so well is that the tractor has been designed to fit the implements. The tractor is longer. It has more clearance under it. You can watch your work right down through the frame. And the frame is narrow for still better vision. It's easy to fasten the implements to it, and it has power to pull any of these implements with plenty in reserve. Here's a combination of the most modern design and the finest engineering. It's built especially to pull these Tru-Draft implements. And that's the job you expect a tractor to do.
Well, how much would this outfit cost me?
Well, suppose we go over here to the desk and sit down, Joe. We can figure out how much it will cost, and at the same time, how much it will reduce your costs.
Well, yeah, all right.
So Joe and the dealer sat down to work the thing out. As the dealer explained, there was an implement for any job that any farmer would have to do. They figured out the implements Joe would need to meet his particular requirements. This gave them an accurate picture of what a complete outfit would cost. Then they worked out about how much it would cost to do his work. Adding the upkeep for 1 year and the depreciation, they found that the total cost of 1 year's work would be $247. Then they worked out what it was costing Joe with his present methods. They found that he was spending $517 a year to do his work now. The difference amounted to $269. This was the saving in cash that Joe Moore could make each year by farming with the B.F. Avery Tru-Draft outfit. Well, these figures gave Joe plenty to think about. So he said to the dealer,
Well, Ed, if I were sure it'd do all you say it will, I think I'd be interested.
Well, what aren't you sure about, Joe? What would you like to see it do?
I think I'd like to see it plow.
That's fair enough. Is there anything else you're worried about?
No, that's about the only place I've got my doubts.
Well, Joe, if I bring a 3-foot one-way plow out tomorrow, and she does the work the way you want it, will that clear up your doubts?
Yeah, I think it will. Because I can tell by just looking at that planter and cultivator that they'll work. But tell me this. What are the terms on this outfit?
We don't have any regular terms, Joe. We try to fit them to your pocketbook. What kind of a down payment could you make?
Well, I think I could arrange to give you about a half down.
Well, that seems all right. Now, how would you like to work out the balance?
Well, I don't like to pay interest. I think I can make you another payment in 2 or 3 months. Then I think I can clean it up out of this year's crop.
Well, you're saving yourself some money by doing it that way.
well, Joe found the outfit well within his reach, and he and the dealer agreed on terms. Then Joe brought up the question of a trade-in. So they discussed that and arrived at the dollar's difference between the B.F. Avery outfit and Joe's trade-in, which was satisfactory to both. Then the next day, the dealer brought the outfit with a 3-foot one-way plow out to Joe's farm. And here's what happened.
Before we start, Joe, I want to point out what I'm going to demonstrate to you. There are 4 or 5 things you want in a plow. In the first place, you want the depth levers in easy reach and easy to handle. Then, you want to be able to cut and turn the trash. You want it to have light draft and at the same time plow at an even depth. And by all means, you want it to leave a good seed bed. Is that right?
Yes, I'd say so.
Well, see how handy it is to hook up this plow? There's just a single pin. That's all there is to it. And you can see that these levers are handy and can be easily reached. Now, when we start, I want you to see how this plow cuts the trash and how it runs along at a uniform depth. The reason it does that, Joe, is that like every other Avery implement, it's hitched in its true line of draft. It plows at a uniform depth, regardless of the up and down motion of the tractor.
Well, the dealer went ahead and demonstrated the outfit. Joe could see that it met his requirements. He saw that the General tractor easily handled this 3-foot Tru-Draft plow. Joe's mind was finally made up when the dealer reviewed the points he had demonstrated, and Joe took a turn at driving the outfit himself. It didn't take much imagination for him to figure out that he could do more and better work with this outfit than he'd ever been able to do before. Yes, Joe Moore bought a B.F. Avery Tru-Draft outfit. and he's doing a class of work now that he was never able to do before. He has cut his costs even more than they figured that day in the dealer's office. Of course, your problems are different from Joe Moore's, but in the main, aren't these the things you want to know about a tractor outfit? Will it do your work the way you want it done? Will it bring your costs down? Is it within your reach? Would you like your questions answered in a manner like this? Would you like to see the cost figures for your farm in black and white? How much it is costing you to farm like this compared with the cost of farming like this? Whatever your problems are, talk them over with your B.F. Avery dealer. You, too, may find that for your farm, the B.F. Avery Tru-Draft outfit is the answer. To be shown only to dealers and their organizations. The film we just saw shows your prospects how one farmer found the answer to his problem. But to us who are interested in selling the B.F. Avery Tru-Draft outfit, the story shows how a well-planned presentation and demonstration clinches a sale. It shows that a good demonstration is a lot more than just driving the outfit out to the prospect's farm, putting on a tough demonstration, and then when you ask him what he thinks of it, having him say,
Oh, it's just about like the rest of them. Does pretty good.
So while the story is fresh in our minds, let's go back over the procedure the dealer followed to make a sale. His plan may be helpful to us. Do you see how important was the part of the demonstration that began right here in the display room? What was the first thing the dealer did before he started to show the outfit to the farmer?
I've seen your ads in the paper, and I was in town, so I thought I'd drop in and take a look at your tractor.
I'm glad you did, Joe. Suppose we go over here and sit down for a few minutes. I'd like you to tell me something about your place.
All right.
Now, let's see, Joe. What's the size of your farm?
Oh, I've got 160 acres.
How many under cultivation?
Instead of starting right in to talk about the Tru-Draft outfit, the dealer followed this principle first. Ask questions. In other words, at this stage, always try to sit down and find out just what your customer's problems are. And why? Well, because you can usually accomplish three things. First of all, you'll get a pretty accurate mental picture of what his real situation is. Second, you'll find out just what he's interested in seeing and the points he'll have to be sold on. And third, by visiting with him, you get on a more friendly basis. You don't give him the impression that your only interest in him is selling him something. All right? Now, after the dealer had the farmer's situation clearly in mind, did you notice what was the next step?
So you see, Ed, my problem's different.
Yes, your problem is different, Joe. But like most farmers, the first thing you want to know about any tractor outfit is, will it do your work the way you want it done?
That's right.
You realize, of course, that the work you can do with a tractor depends on the tools you can get to work with it. After all the tractor does is pull. It's the implements that really do the work.
Did you notice that before he began to sell the tractor or the implements, he started to explain that the tractor was designed for the implements rather than the implements for the tractor? Avery went about building a tractor in just the opposite way from all other tractor manufacturers. Avery understood the problems of the farmer, so instead of starting out by building a tractor, Avery first studied the farm work to be done, designed the implements to do the best work, and then built the tractor tractor to fit the implements. It's that approach to his problem that began to sell this prospect. It's a story you won't hear anywhere else. He came in to look at a tractor, but he was now starting to think about the work to be done rather than the mechanical design of the tractor itself. Then was the right time to show him the outfit on the display floor.
Let's go out on the floor, Joe. I want to show you these Tru-Draft implements.
Say, what is this Tru-Draft business? I've seen that in your ads and wondered what it's all about.
Joe, there's a lot to this Tru-Draft principle. And the Avery outfit is the only tractor outfit where all the implements are free to operate in their true line of draft. Take this cultivator, for example. In any cultivator, there are about 4 things you want. You want natural penetration and even depth. You want the gangs easily adjustable for depth while you're in motion. You want them all up front, in plain sight. And you want your gangs rigid sideways so they'll plow out weeds, and at the same time, flexible up and down to follow the ground and not the tractor. Now, look at this long gang, Joe. See how it permits you to hitch at a single point, and in the true line of draft? The blades penetrate naturally and maintain an even depth. And since you don't have any hold-up wheels or hold-down springs, you can raise up the gangs or lower them easily with that master lever. Or you can adjust your depth without stopping.
Explain Tru-Draft. Isn't this the next logical step? And did you see how cleverly this dealer used the implements to get across what Tru-Draft means to the farmer? First of all, he set up the requirements of a good cultivator, and then showed how this Tru-Draft cultivator meets those requirements. He handled the planter in the same way. He set up the things a farmer looks for in a planter, and then showed that this B.F. Avery outfit was designed to give him those specific things. And the same with the bedder. He set up the requirements, and one by one pointed out how this outfit was designed to meet them. In other words, he showed how the outfit was designed to let each tool operate in its true line of draft, so it would do the kind of work a farmer wants and satisfy him from every angle. Isn't this a good way to explain Tru-Draft? It proves that Tru-Draft is more than just a theory. It's a definite advantage to the farmer on every job he has to do. That brings us to the next step in this dealer's procedure, which is to show all the tools needed to do his work. Show him that you can furnish a Tru-Draft implement to do every job. That's why it's a wise idea to have your implements out on the display floor, lubricated and properly adjusted. Then you can show them to advantage. Now, let's watch how this dealer got his prospect seated again at the desk after the floor demonstration.
The most modern design and the finest engineering. It's built especially to pull these Tru-Draft implements, and that's the job you expect a tractor to do.
Well, how much would this outfit cost me?
Suppose we go over here to the desk and sit down, Joe. We can figure out how much it will cost, and at the same time, how much it will reduce your costs.
Well, yeah, all right.
Many men spend a lifetime and never learn how to get a prospect to sit down and talk. Yet, in selling something like a tractor, you can't work out the details that are necessary to complete the deal standing up. The fact that the prospect was willing to go over to the desk and sit down was the first indication that he was getting into a buying frame of mind. An alert salesman is always on the lookout for buying signals like this, which may come anywhere during the interview. Now, how did the dealer use this opportunity? Well, he began at once to work out the farmer's operating costs before and after. That is, what it was costing the prospect to do his work now, and how much cash savings he could make by using the B.F. Avery Tru-Draft outfit. And what a help this form proved to be. It helped them pick the implements Joe would need and add up the cost of the complete outfit. Then it enabled them to figure up in dollars and cents how much it would cost Joe each year to do his work with this B.F. Avery outfit, counting fuel, upkeep, upkeep, depreciation, everything. Then they worked out a careful estimate of what Joe was paying out under his present methods and compared the two figures. Getting this information is a very important part of every sale. If you don't work out the figures with him, he may never know how much a B.F. Avery Tru-Draft outfit would save him. Remember how this prospect reacted to these figures?
Well, Ed, if I were sure it'd do all you say it will, I think I'd be interested.
And there was another buying signal. Did you see how the dealer was alert to act on it?
What would you like to see it do, Joe?
I think I'd like to see it plow.
That's fair enough. Is there anything else you're worried about?
No, that's about the only place I've got my doubts.
Well, if I bring a 3-foot one-way plow out tomorrow, and she does the work the way you want it done, will that clear up your doubts?
Yes, I think it will.
The dealer was on the job. He saw the opportunity to close the sale right here, subject to a plowing demonstration in the field. But he did a very important thing first, which is to find out what the prospect wants to see demonstrated in the field. He got agreement that the farmer would buy on the condition that the outfit did that particular job to his satisfaction. Now, wouldn't it have been foolish to take a cultivator out to Joe's farm when Joe was already convinced that it would do the job of cultivation he wanted? Or planting? Joe could see that the outfit would do a good job of planting. Because he knew planters, he was already completely sold on the B.F. Avery Tru-Draft planter. His doubts were about plowing. Was this outfit big enough? Would it do his heavy work? That was the final answer he wanted. So you can see how important it was for the dealer to satisfy him on that and nothing else. And did you notice how skillfully the dealer handled the question of time payments?
We don't have any regular terms, Joe. We try to fit them to your pocketbook. What kind of a down payment could you make?
Well, I think I could arrange to give you about half down.
Well, that seems to be all right. Now, how would you like to work out the balance?
Well, I don't like to pay interest.
Instead of mentioning the minimum down payment required and the maximum time on the balance, he let the buyer state how much he could pay down and how soon he'd pay off the rest. Often you will find that the terms your buyers want are considerably better than the lowest down payment you could accept or the longest time you could give them to pay the balance. That means you got better paper that will be easier to sell. After reaching an agreement on terms, the dealer and Joe Moore discussed trade-ins and arrived at the dollar's difference, which was satisfactory to both. Remember, it's dollar's difference that's the important thing, and not the amount the dealer allows for the trade-in. Then, having ironed out all details of the sale before the demonstration, there was just one thing left to do: demonstrate in the field. Some of our dealers who use this plan in selling tell us that they close over 90% of their deals either by a showroom demonstration alone or subject to a satisfactory demonstration in the field. Now, what was the plan of the field demonstration? Did the dealer start right into plow and prove to the farmer he was right? No. He began like this.
Before we start, Joe, I want to point out what I'm going to demonstrate to you. There are just about 4 or 5 things you want in a plow. In the first place, you want the depth leathers in an easy reach.
Tell them what you're going to show them, then show them, then tell them what you showed them. It's a simple formula, but it's effective. The dealer, you remember, used it both on the showroom floor and out at the field demonstration. He started out by setting up the requirements for the implement he was going to demonstrate and telling the farmer what he was going to see. Now, isn't it reasonable to assume that if you tell your prospect what to look for before you start the actual demonstration, he'll be more likely to see the things you want him to see? When you start out to drive the outfit, he'll watch for those things that you pointed out. Then, when you button up by telling him again the things you've already shown him, he should begin to understand what you're talking about. And oh yes, here's an important step, but it never should be done until you have completed a good demonstration yourself. Get the prospect in him drive the outfit for himself. When he's in the driver's seat, it's almost impossible for him not to compare the ease of doing his work this way with the drudgery of doing his job the old way. Well, sir, there we have seen the steps that this dealer and many other successful Avery dealers and their salesmen are using to make profitable sales. What we have seen is a well-planned presentation and demonstration. Now, planned selling is not in any way high-pressure selling. It is simply following logical steps that make good selling demonstration and lead to a sale. Now then, let's review the steps once more. First, ask questions. Get your prospect seated if possible and find out about his problems before you show the outfit. Then, explain that the tractor was designed for the implements rather than the implements for the tractor. Explain Tru-Draft, why it is the logical answer to his problem. After this, show all the tools needed to do his work. Then, sit down at the desk and work out the farmer's operating costs before and after. Find out his maximum down payment and minimum time to pay the balance. Try to close the sale after the stationary demonstration. If you can't, then try to close, subject to a satisfactory demonstration in the field. But before you make a field demonstration, find out what the prospect wants to see demonstrated in the field. Then demonstrate in the field. Take along the tools that will do the jobs he has his doubts about. And whether you're demonstrating on the floor or out in the field, tell him what you're going to show him, then show him, then tell him what you showed him. Demonstrations like this will help your prospect understand why Tru-Draft is the answer for his farm and will help you make more profitable sales.